Well, Happy New Year, Christine, kind of.
Oh, Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New
Cheers.
Year's Eve. Cheers.
Everybody.
Cheers.
If you're listening to us, you made it too. So we did it. We survived.
We did survive. Cheers to you guys. I'm going to drink to that.
Absolutely.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the last episode of 2025 for Double D-Fense. We are recording this on, New Year's Eve. The Rangers have just lost against the Capitals, so not a fantastic way to end 2025, but what else is new this season? So we're going to chat about the game. We're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions for the New York Rangers and the league in general, and maybe get into some wish lists for 2026.
Absolutely. We need something to look forward to, right?
We do. This has been a tumultuous season for New York Ranger fans, let alone the team. And just before we started this podcast, Christine was saying that Mike Sullivan looks like he's aged like a number of years in just the short time that this season has been going on. That poor guy.
The wrinkles are prevalent. There. I guess according to you, like he can't keep that Grecian formula on fast enough or long enough so that it's wearing him thin.
I haven't seen him look happy in months. Literally, every time that they show him on the bench, there's almost like steam coming out of his ears because he's so angry about something. Understandably, I think the Rangers have been, not only a frustrating team, not only dealing with a lot of injuries, dealing with a lot of bad calls. I'm not going to say that the losses are calls, but there's been some kind of misses by the refs, and understandably, and weird like penalty calls that seem like they're nothing, that the Rangers get called for and other teams don't seem to be called for.
Well, yeah, we've had, I don't know, it's like the upside down world. I keep saying that. We've just had this crazy start to the year. We had high expectations. We just passed the midway point of the year as well. It seems like it's a lot longer. But we still are in this, and it's also the conference, and the division that we're in. It's crazy. You kind of had a fun stat where what position are we in now?
Yeah, so I think the Rangers, I'd have to recount it, but I think the Rangers are around 17th in the league. If you look at the whole league overall, East and West, the Rangers are around 17th place and are not in a playoff spot. Yet the San Jose Sharks, who are in 23rd, are in a playoff spot. How does that make sense? In what world are the San Jose Sharks in the playoffs? Didn't they start the season on like an 8-game losing streak or something insane this year?
I think that's how start every season. So yes. But they got the young kids, and that's again what's doing it. We're talking that, and I'm hearing this a lot from other people too. Everyone's on repeat, which we really shouldn't be doing. It's not just us. Listen, we if you're coming into our podcast, we are Ranger fans. We do talk about and follow the entire league, and trying to even get into that more, watching more games. Again, we're becoming bigger fans of other teams, like the Ducks. So things that are more accessible to us, being that we're in Southern California, and more entertaining at times, to watch. We are watching teams that are expected to do well, Panthers, Oilers, that are well below expectations alongside with the Rangers and other teams. This is due to key player injuries that we've seen. We just had Adam Fox return to the lineup and got a couple points, which was good to see. Yeah. He did not hold the team up. Were they relying on him to do more or to do anything? It was flat. The Islander game the other day was flat too, and frustrating. It's frustrating. These are the games we need to be winning, of course, because it's in our own division. We have to be winning these games. When we played the Islanders the other day, had we won, we would have been tied with them for third place. I mean, that's how crazy this is. I'm looking at the stats right now in the East. The
point difference between the top team and the bottom team is 11 points, which, as you know, can go either way in the course of a couple of games. The difference on the West is staggering, though. It's 31 points that separates the top from the bottom. So we are in an extremely tough.
Yeah, even on the other side, you have the Avalanche just blowing everybody away.
Okay, can we just stop and talk? I just need to mention something. The Avalanche have lost 2 games. They've lost several in overtime, but they've only lost 2 games this season in regulation. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
You've never seen a team perfect. As I've always said, no one's perfect, but they are quite close to it. And again, this resembles the Avalanche of a few years ago. We were talking about this over the weekend as we gathered for a holiday party, and who we foresaw into the Stanley Cup Finals, and definitely I see them. If I didn't even have any answer at all for the East Coast. I'm like, I really just don't have anything.
It's changing too much
now. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go with the Leafs, for crying out loud. It could be anything. Although, I mean, now they're right behind us, and we can't let them get ahead.
Yeah.
So, it's anybody's game. I think the Avalanche are strong. We're going to keep watching for the other teams are starting to get cracks in the plays and their scoring. I'm seeing that in Vegas, but again, it's all player dynamics. There's been some bigger injuries that have happened. And let's talk about today's game. I'm going to try to be nice, but not really, because I fucking hate Tom Wilson. I mean, the most punchable. There was a stat at some point about people you want to punch, and for whatever reason, he wasn't on that list when he's the number 1 person everybody wants to punch. So
I do want to take a step back. For anybody who is new to the Double D-Fense podcast, I do want you to share specifically why you are not a Tom Wilson fan, because this goes back a few seasons.
Well, it goes my whole life. For me personally, I hate the Caps. Sorry, Julie. I love my friends. I hate they root for. But it goes back. I will age and date myself, but it goes all the way back to Dale Hunter days. The team has always been a thug team. I've never ever liked that style of play. I mean, there's one thing about being physical. It's nothing to be dirty. And specifically Tom Wilson, go and Google it, and you look it up on YouTube. It's a fantastic series of 3 days. But it goes into where he basically slammed Buchnevich in front of the net and got into a big fight. He pummeled Buchnevich and then got in a big fight, and then he totally body slammed Panarin on his head. And that resulted in a player review, which only got him fined. When you watch it over and over again, it's crazy. And as a reminder, the people who are reviewing this and making the calls are former thugs, which, I have a problem with that too. And he was only fined the maximum amount. He was not suspended. Everybody thought he should be. The Rangers made a statement on that, the organization itself, and released a statement. And as a result of releasing that statement against disagreeing with the calls and the decision, the team was fined, I believe, $250,000. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but they were fined an extraordinary amount of money. And the best part is the Rangers and the Caps had a matchup the next day. I think this happened on a Monday. Again, don't quote me. And I think they played on a Wednesday. So this is the best scene you can ever watch in hockey, aside from Miracle, and Slapshot, is to watch the start of this game, because everybody drops the glove. And it was the Caps that dropped them first, if you really look at it. And it's an all-out team brawl. I think 80,000 players ended up in the penalty box. And Trigger went right after Wilson. I mean, it was beautiful revenge hockey. And, and kind of and this is what if you're watching the game today, this is what they were talking about on previous games with some of our players getting laid out and us not having, the balls to go and, and stand up for them. But today Carrick did, and it was good. I think you're texting me and I'm like, oh, I fucking hate that guy. And all of a sudden Carrick goes right after him. And that's kind of what we want to be seeing.
So Wilson nabbed Laba today pretty hard, and he, from what I was seeing, he never returned to the game. So hopefully he's not hurt much worse than just being knocked out for the game. But apparently it was a clean hit. Nobody got penalized for that. But so it was hard. It was hard. You could see Laba go down.
There's views too. I mean, I have a feeling I'm gonna be seeing this replay 10 times while we're talking. Yeah, it's questionable, but bottom line is, it has to be a clean. There's nothing we can do about it. So he went down. Yeah, he stayed down. And not only did Tom Wilson take him out, but Tom Wilson scored the goal.
Yeah.
And a quick side note, I saw somebody was asking on social media, like, why do they allow that to go on? I mean, most of the people that are listening do know why. But for those that are new and our friends who we usually tell things to anyway, and they don't understand, but we tell them anyway. That's the fun part. So Wilson hit, Laba went down. He was just hunched over on the ground, and play continued. And of course, Wilson scored. So someone had asked why they didn't stop play, and it is a rule in the NHL rule book where if the opposing team, which means it's a team that the player is not down, if they have possession of the puck, play will continue until they no longer have possession. So that's the reason. And had this happened when the Rangers had the puck, it would have stopped immediately. The other thing is the refs do have the ability and discretion to stop the play if they feel that the injury is severe. And again, on our side as fans, or when you're in there watching, you can say, oh, that looks severe, but they define severe as like blood, shots of pucks to the head, or like broken bones. I mean, they're talking severe, which is really the only time they're really going to stop the play. And what we've seen is they might jump the gun and blow the whistle. I mean, they've done that too. But reality is that's kind of the way the rule is. That's why there wasn't a stoppage of play, and that's why they ended up scoring. So yeah, those kind of things don't bode well for as fans, because now look, we're going into this major outdoor game where we have this great winning streak that we like to keep, and and not only did we lose Laba tonight, and we're going to keep an eye on that to see how injured he was, but he did not return to the game, as well as Susie got taken out, so we lost our our forwards, our center. So we'll have to see how that plays out in the next game. They have a couple days to recover.
Yeah, they do. But the next game, as Christine mentioned, is the Winter Classic, which is being played in Miami. It is actually not being played outdoors. And that I feel a little bit gaslit by the NHL. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but for like a year.
Lies. It's all lies.
Total lies. Everything's, it's going to be an outdoor game in Miami. How are they going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. Turns out it's at Lone Depot Park, but they're keeping the roof closed. So
yeah, they'll open a window to make it count.
An indoor ice skating rink.
They say they might open the roof. As a game time decision, I guess.
I'm still feeling very gaslit by those photos. So I personally am glad that we didn't drop $300 on tickets and round trip flights to Florida for this game in particular.
A fake outdoor game. I don't like this fake.
Yeah. I was wondering if they were going to do it on synthetic ice for a minute, but then I was like, there's no way the NHL would allow. Have you ever skated on synthetic ice, by the way? It's bizarre.
No, but whatever that, there's pads that the kids can use to practice.
I think it's similar to that, but they'll do it on like a whole rink. It's wild.
Yeah. No, I don't think the kids have either. I don't skate. I mean, I'm afraid now I'm also clumsy. So, you know,
You're not
I'm
wrong.
about to hurt myself and take 4 people out with me. So
Cheers to that. Well, on that note, I think we have a couple of New York Rangers New Year's resolutions that we wanted to get to. And of course, if you have any of your own New Year's resolutions, we'd love to hear that too. But I do have a list of the top 5 for the New York Rangers, and I'd like to just talk through them a little bit because I think this team really needs to shape up a lot in 2026. So, number 1, New Year's resolution, we resolve to remember that scoring is, in fact, allowed at even strength. So we can score even strength goals. This especially goes out to Mika Zibanejad, who I think has maybe like 4 even strength goals the entire season. Like it's ridiculous. So we do want to just encourage the Rangers to remember that going into next year.
that'll tie into some of my wishes later.
Okay.
We'll save it. But absolutely agree. And I'll tell you, and kind of putting that into perspective, with goals, we'll talk about shots too later. I know we feel that we could be doing more shots, but we held the Caps down a bit. The Islanders, I think, game was kind of a flat game, by both teams as well, with shots. So when we kind of push that out more to the NHL, we are seeing this going across the board with every team except for the Avalanche. So 90 game as they're watching. So is it a testament to how defense is playing? Not necessarily. It's just those opportunities, in trying to kind of get those scoring chances and just getting them up and stop being fancy and just go for it.
That's amazing when they shoot the puck. Okay, number 2, we resolved to make Madison Square Garden intimidating again. The Rangers have still not really solved the issue of winning at home, or their lack of winning at home. And now they also seem to have brought that issue on the road with them, which is not great. But hopefully 2026 brings more positivity to MSG. Maybe they need to like sage it or something.
Just we can go in after that. I could see that around. Yeah. What's that smell? You bring up a good point there too, because interestingly enough, just as you said that, I'm realizing, where we are typically a very loud, fan base wherever we are. We're not hearing the fans because we're not in a position where people want to stand up and yell at their Ranger fans. They're going to the games. They're still there. They're still a good presence. But in previous years or in previous, that's the one joy that I have when I'm watching a game from 3,000 miles away from most of them, where I can hear the Ranger fans. I can hear them chanting Igor, Quick, Rempe or whatever. And you know what? And now it's just been dead silent, throughout all these other arenas too.
Do you remember the Penguins game that we went to several years ago where they had to play the goal song so many times that we were like getting sick of singing it because we would like sit down, they would score, we'd be up.
It was a workout. You got to yell and scream and jump up and move your arms. And then poor Sarah.
And right now, I'll be honest, I barely remember what the goal song sounds like. Barely. And that game, I think,
hey, or goal. Oh, whatever.
We can't even have that debate because nobody plays it anymore. So, okay, so that was number 2. Number 3, we have to, as a team, stop relying on Shesterkin and Quick to be absolute magicians in the net. That is not fair to them. The team, Shesterkin and Quick have played such great games this entire season. Goaltending is not an issue for the Rangers. The lack of scoring is the issue. So I think that has to be one of the New Year's resolutions. And speaking of New Year's, it is Shesterkin's birthday. So hopefully he is off celebrating somewhere.
This is all going to be gone by the time we're finished talking. And that's the start of New Year's Eve. My goal is to stay awake till midnight. It's still early.
Okay.
I we celebrate the East Coast version of New Year's. Hold on as long as I can.
Yes, especially as displaced New Yorkers, I feel like being in LA is weird because we're kind of like the last people, not the last people, but we're among the last people on the planet to celebrate New Year's. And by the time it gets to us, nobody cares anymore.
I know. By the time it gets to us, everyone's asleep, and they're in dreamland, and we're like, yeah. And it's repeats everywhere. Everyone's in the future. I know. I get it.
I'm just gonna watch. I watch the New York feed at 9 and then go to sleep.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
me. We're good.
All right.
To work on starting tomorrow. First thing tomorrow, everybody's boot camp.
Okay, number 4, we resolved to play a full 60-minute game, not just either the last 5 minutes of the first period, maybe part of the second. Third is hit or miss, depending when the bus comes.
Yeah. Yeah. That the bus showing up has been strong lately. Yeah. I always wonder what happens in the locker room. I can see Fox in the locker room after a second, like, come on, guys. Like, I'm just back. It's my first game back. I already got us a couple points. You got to work with me here. Yeah. What are they doing in the locker room?
I don't know. And then, this kind of goes into the last one that I have, which touches on some of like the post-game locker interviews that we've spoken about. I think the New York Rangers have to make a New Year's resolution to be honest with fans. There's a lot of rhetoric when these guys are interviewed, and Christine does the absolute best impressions of hockey players being interviewed after a game, because they say like nonsense words. It's all like a bunch, especially when they lose. When they win, they're a little happier, than there's a little more spring in their step. But when they lose, it's all the same muttering, glaring at the camera. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen. What was the phrase?
They don't look anyone in the eye. They never look anyone in the eye. They always look down, unless you're being interviewed from hockey.
They're like, what was the phrase today that they were used? Like, we need to stop the bleeding, or
that was it. So Mika is getting interviewed, and I mean, I actually kind of like what we said. So, I debate this a lot with people, and seeing that people need to kind of really watch these post-game interviews, because, look, most of the fans, especially if they're on social media, they're not at the game. They're sitting home on their couch watching it on TV like we are. The perspective we have is a lot different than what's happening in the arena, as well as what's happening on the ice when you're living it. So blame, and they'll always say that they're not taking credit for stuff, and they actually do. So one of the reporters was kind of asking him, like, do you need a reset? And he's like, there's no resetting. It's like, we just have to figure out how to stop the bleeding. So, and that, that's going to kind of go into like some of the wish talk, like that I have, that I'll go over it, when we're done with this one, to kind of see what we need. It's like, so, and I think to your point, and what we want to hear as fans is, when you say that, what does that mean? So, the people who are interviewing aren't really asking them. The other thing is, those reporters are asking superficial questions. I know they have a watchdog right there, to the outside the camera, that's keeping an eye on them and protecting our players. But the questions are very generic. But I mean, I would love to kind of ask that further. Like, so, okay, well, how do you do that? What's the Band-Aid that you're going to put on? What are you doing? We don't want a Band-Aid. We want it to heal and fix, and become stronger.
I want to ask way more pointed questions. I want to be like, Mika, like, outside of yourself, who do you blame the most on this team? Like, I want to really, like, I wish there was an opportunity where these guys could get real. I obviously know that they cannot do that, but I'm very curious, if there were no filters and no consequences, whose fingers would they be pointing at? I have one thought, and I think it goes higher up than the team, but that's only my perspective from afar. Do not know what's going on, obviously in the locker room and behind the scenes. But I'm just curious, who, when they look around and they have to have in their minds, who's not showing up, who's not putting in effort, who is putting in effort, who's good energy in the locker room and who's bad energy in the locker room. And that is what I want to know, but we will never find out. We can only speculate.
I know.
That's why this podcast was born.
I know. We're just gonna make up our own stuff. Now, if I was in the locker, it'd be a different story. But we've seen it, and also just another quick kind of digress, like a plug, is there was this great documentary that we were following earlier in the year, where they kind of followed this team like throughout its cycle in its inaugural hockey year in youth hockey, and they show you those locker room scenes, and those are things I really loved to see, because sometimes they'll show you locker room before and after certain things, but it gets to the heart of things when things are good versus when things are bad, and you're not going to solve all these problems in locker room. It's a right then and now. Like, you got to live in the moment and try to handle the moment that we see. And I think one of the bigger frustrations is not seeing. That's where I think maybe Sullivan's got a little bit of responsibility, is not seeing them adapt to what's happening, who they're playing, what's happening in those periods, and getting out there and kind of making that noticeable up change, to match that energy and that level of what's happening. Tom Wilson just took your players out. Sullivan, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going to Disneyland because I'm out of here. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's what you kind of want to see. And again, it's just I'm on repeat with what I feel and with what I see and what I want to see. And so it's into kind of what you were saying before. Mika said that, but what does it mean? It's not any different than like, we have to be better. We have to stop the bleeding.
So speaking of what you want to see, let's dive into Christine's wish list for 2026.
So this is not just for me. This is for like all of us. We are, collectively. I need my glasses for this. So, it's like we're frustrated because we care, right? We care about us. We care about the fans. We care about our team, and we're critical because we believe in them and we know with the potential that that they have and what they're able to do. And so, look, as we're turning the page, like literally in a couple hours, some sooner than later, because you guys are in the future, then, we want to see something different. So, and I'm going to put this out here because I love to hear other people's wishes, and what, you can't say trades. Okay. So, we're stuck with who we've got, live with it, get over it.
So what are rules for this wish list?
I'm just figuring out what people are going to come back at me with. So number one, which again, I think I've been saying for 3 years, is consistency that we can count on. Okay. We're not looking for anything, perfect. We just, going back to your full 60, it's being consistent, make the decisions and stick with them, and make the right decisions. And I think consistency for me would include, again, playing keeping those younger players on the ice a little bit more. And especially when your top lines aren't performing, and change it up, match the energy to who we're playing and how they're playing. When we're watching these other teams come out with urgency and starting to shoot the puck and everything, and they're scoring on us within 30 seconds, like the Islanders did the other day, that's what we got to be prepared for. And we have to have that consistency.
And adapt. That's interesting that you say that, because I think one of the other ways you describe Sullivan, and I think it's very accurate, is by the book, in that I think he goes out with a set strategy and is not super adaptable once that strategy needs to change because of how the game momentum is going. So I totally agree with you. That's a very interesting point.
Yeah. And by the book too, another comment that I've seen recently is, we're not seeing him. He's not one to challenge things when it's questionable. And I've seen the debate on that because we know we got people watching and looking at cameras and following things a little bit more closely. And when you see, I mean, there have been more than, and not this game, but more than a few opportunities where he could have challenged, and he didn't. And so that gets a little frustrating too, especially when you have someone like Brenda Moore who's going to, challenge every other play. And we might see that with the Panthers too, because they're good at that too. Let's take some bets on how many challenges there'll be during this outdoor game.
Ooh, I like that.
2. So number 2, let's go with, again, on repeat. We're a little, dial that's just, we're keep hitting the button. Confidence, that we need to turn that into an actionable thing. And they, we're hearing that in their press conferences. We hear it's coming back, I don't know where it goes, but now it's coming back. They feel like they're starting to get it when there's a win. And we're ready. And here's the thing, we're ready to see it in quicker decisions. Again, shots taken without hesitation, going to your point. That's a confidence we want to see. And the players trusting their instincts. I saw it today. There's hesitation with cross ice passes. They're kind of having to flip back and forth. You need to see more of those kind of plays and taking the shots and going for rebound opportunities. Again, that goes into what we can see on TV because we have that bird's eye view, which is, again, different from what the players are seeing on the ice. So when we see all these great opportunities that they don't see and they can't hear us, it's very frustrating for us. So confidence. Yeah. And you can also turn that into a drinking game, like every time you hear them say it in a press conference before or after the game or during the intermissions, drink all you want. It's just one of many opportunities to play.
I think this kind of goes back to, there was a lot of this like mentality at the beginning of the season, like that whole like campaign of no BS. Like, remember that they had all those signs up? What happened to that? Now it's all BS.
Where's the hat? Where's the hat? Look, I have my what is it? So
yeah, New York or nowhere. Yeah.
New York or nowhere. No quit in New York.
Yeah, what happened to that? It's all quit in New York now.
I mean, I still use it. Everyone laughs at me though. Go back. Let's go back a few phrases and pick one and start.
Yeah.
We have to build on that, right? Go to no quick, then do New York and then build back up to the no BS. So we have to take a few steps back and to move forward. I think that I get. So yeah. And again, we're not going to be done talking about that, but we're going to see what we can do. That's our wish, so again, manifest it all. It's up to us to do that manifesting. More pucks to the net. You were kind of talking about that. More shots. Look, yeah. The playoff picture, we're right there. We're not out, we're not in. And, we know it as fans. We want to see it more with this team, that every shift matters, every point matters. And we know that each and every, person on that team is capable of doing that. Look, we've got Trocheck, hitting 600, is it games or points today? So, and they are still hitting milestones. I think Panarin just got one too. So, they're doing it. Let's do a little bit more, and we can't have no more games where we have no shots because I'm going to come get you and find you. That kind of stuff. That drives me insane. It's like take those opportunities, every opportunity. And that's what people are doing. It's like, I don't know why they're not learning from the people that they're getting shot upon. It goes back to the pressure that, that Igor and Jonathan, like that they're having to do. Now today they were talking, the team, is not known for blocking shots, but today, what did they call it? They call it like a block fest. And I couldn't get past I also couldn't get past the fox in the box, thing the whole time. I don't know why. I just kept laughing at that. Box is out of the box. Box is in the box. So I'm like, and I did not start drinking my champagne till just now. So in case you were wondering. um, so yeah, so more pucks to the net. And then urgency that matches that moment, so we were kind of talking about like everything matters right now. So we're close. We're not out of it. We're not in it. We were as close as we could be to anything at the Islander game when we needed to win that game. I mean, I would have gone in there. That had to been like a must win to kind of get into that spot and be able to stick there. We are a couple games ahead of everybody else. So when we take a day or two off, we're bound to be dropping some spots. So, we have to know what our place is in each of the division conference and, in the entire NHL standings. And they play like they don't realize where they're at or what they're doing. In 5, which is what we're talking about too, is like, and I really like this one. It's a really good thought, provoking statement. It's an identity that shows up every night. After each game, and when we kind of get baffled as to like, why did we lose that game? Why did we not get a score? And we're seeing frustration. It's like win or lose. We want to know exactly who this team is, and we need to see that they have their identity, and lean into that identity like together. Own the loss, own the win, and celebrate the win, and know what you have to do. It's that's, I think, one of the frustrating things I think with fans that I see too is, when we're not seeing the consistency there, you see how unsure they are of themselves and where they're at and their strategy when you're listening to them talk after a game. So, they need to kind of band and figure out who they are, which I think is a lot more than confidence. You need to kind of, and then trust. These all tie together, which I really like. When the list came up. So, because again, we want to see more confidence in your line and kind of being able to move forward. They rely a lot on Panarin cherry picking moves, which he's great at. But watch some of these other teams. There's a time to be selfish and there's a time to be passing. We are terrible at passing, cross ice right in front of the goal where it's easily, turned over. And then you have, another team, like when Connor Bedard would, Connor, like, Hughes, Jack Hughes, like he's got it. Macklin's got it where they just get that puck and they just go. They go all out. They take it up, they hog it, and they get those shots off. So they're getting scoring opportunities. They're scoring a lot of things because percentages, if you take so many shots, you're going to score. And they're getting the shots. And so, and this is how these kids are kind of succeeding, in what they're doing and how their team is letting them do it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the Rangers, like the year they won the President's Trophy, like they had such a team identity of like that. It was kind of like that no quit mentality. Like that was a team that showed up all the time, and they could be down 2 goals and it would be not a problem. Like you would watch them and you'd go, these guys know that they can do this. And so many times that season they came from behind to win. I mean, you look at like a team like Washington, like, I know you don't like them, but they do have a team identity and they do have a certain style of play that they lean into, and it's been successful for them this year. They're sort of
cheaters.
Yeah, but at least they do. I feel like the Rangers are like sort of like the scrapbook of all the stuff you had left over, like at the end of the year, and they threw them all together and are hoping for the best instead of having, you're right, like some kind of strategy or plan on how to use all of these players together in a cohesive way. They don't feel cohesive. They feel like in silos, they could be quite successful. And it'll be interesting as the trade deadline comes up, what the Rangers are going to do, because they do have a lot of these very valuable pieces that they could, I guess, look to rebuild with later on. It's just a weird year to figure that out and what that's going to look like.
Yeah, and that talk will become more prevalent, after the Olympics and stuff, so we're seeing that. A really great site to follow is Data Driven Hockey. and a lot of times they'll do like, these guys put out, a buy low, sell high type of, report. Right now, JT Miller is like, you can buy him really cheap. So it's things like that. It's watching, the players and who's playing well and who's not. So there has to be different strategy. And I've kind of, they kind of mentioned this today too. I think, Kenny Albert was talking, or it might've been Brian. One of them was kind of, he kind of says what I always say. Again, I'm a hockey mom. So, watching youth hockey, and the amount of times I've yelled things like mark up, it's like, like mark up Ovechkin. Like, why is he just there and able to take the shots? So I feel that's a rule that you learn when you're 12, and why don't you carry that through your whole life, especially if that's what you're doing and what you're playing? And it's like, how do these guys, like, that these guys are the scoring leaders, and then they're still going to get more points. That's always been my thing. And when you're hearing these guys say it too, when you're seeing it and watching it on the ice like that, it's it kind of goes to think, create that identity, get that cohesiveness that that you're looking at. And we can start off in little, in little shifts, and Sullivan's going to kind of have to break away from going by the book and kind of really change things up. I'm actually glad that Quick was playing today. Again, just knowing how some of these guys are playing, and the teams are playing, sometimes I feel like they should switch it up where I feel like Quick would have been better. We would have been better against the Islanders the other day. So it's like, just to mix it up a little bit, it was Islanders and then North Carolina. And then, had they mixed it up a little bit, then I think, I think things would be different too. So it's like, like they both have different styles of play. And when you have a team that's really rushing the net, Quick is really good at. And, the Caps are one of those that they're scoring, in the paint up close. They're rushing the net. These things are just like, inches away from goalie interferences, but they're not. And that's how you got to match your style and play the same way.
Well, we'll see how it goes in 2026. As we sign off for the year, Christine, do you have any final last parting Double Defense words for the kind people who have spent either the last 42 minutes with us, or the last 4 months with us, or even the last 4 years with us? We are very grateful for you guys, and to anybody listening. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, a toast and cheers to everybody out there who are surviving along with us as disgruntled fans or happy fans when the wins are there. And not just to Ranger fans. We have other fans, and listeners that are part of our family. I shouldn't use the word fam. It's more of a family of listeners and enthusiasts that just enjoy the frustration of being a hockey fan, win or lose. So we welcome everybody, to kind of celebrate the night in any way you choose. And hopefully no one's hungover. And and that, tomorrow we wake up with just, a good outlook to, and hope for, for a better outcome for where we are at with our team. I wish everybody the best with all their teams, except for the Capitals. Sorry, Burley. And as we kind of go into the next year, we have very quickly 3 games coming up in the next couple of weeks, which we'll be coordinating. So you'll be seeing a lot of fun pictures and things from us, with the Rangers doing a road trip out here to LA for the Kings, the Ducks, and the San Jose Sharks, which we are planning to attend all those games. So we'll be with everybody in spirit. We'll try to go live maybe, for the Winter Classic on Friday, which would be kind of fun. And we wish everybody a good outcome for that game. And then we'll see how things go. And then we're going to be right into the Olympics. We'll be, again, following that. And then it'll be the home stretch. So I have a feeling everything's going to go by very quickly. I wish everybody the best tonight and to a wonderful start to 2026 in not just our sport world, but in everything you do. So cheers.
Cheers. Happy New Year. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.